How you doing, Molly?
I'm good, how are you?
We're good.
Great.
I think it's recording.
Guys, is that two weddings going on?
Can you believe it? Yes. Party at the Gianna, especially good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And actually, and then Olivia. And it's from the job with the boy. So she's got to move to Virginia. Yes, she's got to go to Tampa. So what we're doing is we're flying on a Zoom date at a UAE.
Yeah.
Studying 3 days in Savannah, meeting Brittany's parents. We already met there. Yeah, and then driving to Tampa. And so we'll get a-
Better next week.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all how's the game?
Game's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chloe's in.
Oh,
I told
Oh, really?
I told him Kev's here.
that would have been tough.
I know. I said, do you know why? You didn't, he had to do it.
Yeah, the
It's still talking.
five remainers are here. The remainers, okay. Anybody hear anything about new people coming on this?
We were gonna ask you that.
Oh, I figured I'd jump ahead and ask the same thing. I have not heard about it. Does anybody know anything about it?
What's that?
Molly has some information.
Well, I got a message, well, I spoke to a person for like a very brief period of time, they were running somewhere, but she mentioned being interested in having gone online about joining the Affordable Housing Committee, in addition to having an accessory unit that she was interested in DD, affordable.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
so two little things, and I don't have any more info, but she was running.
Did you tell her to apply with the board of selectmen? That's what the official.
I didn't get that.
The website.
It's on the website, yeah. But the board of selectmen.
Yes, there's a thing to click, right?
There's a
Join
like
our
a
board
link for volunteers
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
town website.
Yeah.
And you say what you want to join to, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I did
okay.
pass on to Mark, if you were asking about this, that I had gotten a call from John Hussein, who I guess is the head of the Republican Town Committee, is that correct? Yes.
No.
No, John Hussein? I thought
On
it
a
was
fair, they,
KISSA. Maybe I misunderstood his
Yeah.
title, but I thought that's what it was. Ron Clark, who I was on planning and zoning with, suggested he call me. And it's about a person that named Matt Cohen.
oh, I've heard the name.
That
I don't know.
was applying to it.
Yeah.
and He just was, Ron thought I could pass on the information as to what the committee is looking for, so we had a, fairly broad conversation. I said, well, honored that Ron would think I know something, but, I could say that, usually, where's selecting it's choosing. Although it sounds like now that it's gone back to, I don't know if you call it, we've gone on other committees, but like when I went on planning and zoning, you sent your application, the people that were soliciting the volunteer was the party. And so maybe now when we did this, it went through Board of Selectmen. So I don't know what the format is now. He was calling me he did say Republican committee. And that they would
Yeah,
interview him. That's how it
Aaron said
works.
that
Yeah.
placements were going to come.
Yeah, that's how it usually,
Yeah,
that's my
Yeah, that's
the board
experience.
has to act.
Is
yeah,
that-
right.
Is that because?
And it doesn't matter which committee.
No, it
It
does.
could be,
No, there's a
There's certain
balance.
designated
It's a
seats,
balance.
yes.
So now
Right.
you would be, this committee would be looking, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe this committee would now be looking for someone that's registered Republican. Thus, why they're interviewing. Like when I applied to the planning and zoning, I saw a little blurb in the paper, the Democratic Town Committee is looking for people for planning and zoning. That is who interviewed me. And then those folks decided, and they sent the name to I'm making an assumption that that's now how this is working. I don't know for sure, but that's what it sounded like.
Doesn't seem to be that way.
But why would he be interviewing?
No, I guess he's asking you to try to figure out.
No.
We're going on, so just to learn more about it. I'll
Oh,
have to find out.
okay, well, he's interviewing the guy, he said, so we will be interviewing.
Oh, okay, great.
That's what he said to me, so, okay, well, I'm gonna interview him.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, Jen is not on call.
That's
so-
great. But I'm making a
No,
guess.
it's Eric's not here, and then, of course, is Peggy on vacation, do you know? She's.
I'm not sure. Let me just check and make sure you don't have any participants or anybody.
It's just. So anybody else wants that number will change. So this is the participants right here.
See a number there. So just the one.
Yeah.
Okay. I will reach out to Jen and see if she knows anything about it. It's up to the board to select them to actually vote.
So they approve the person, yes, they get sent up by the committee. That's what I understand, that's how, that's what
The
it is.
appointment will be from the select.
Yeah, the local party that selects the person. That's how it works. All I can say is that's how it worked before, so I don't know. And that's the impression I was getting
Oh, I got it.
because this Republican guy
Are
was
we
in
even
there.
now?
Well, I believe we have one Republican. Excellent. Had before two Democrats. No, sorry, one more Democrat.
There's 2 seats open.
Yeah.
Two seats up. But I will check, Janet, to see if there's any. Maybe they just haven't gotten around to it. So, you know, our nominee.
Yeah.
Still have.
Yes, well, they have to prove it, yes.
Okay, well, let's call the meeting in order for 10. And move on, we'll skip the pledge of allegiance and move on to the minutes of the July 17th, 2024 meeting. Your motion to approve. So,
Motion approved.
second,
Second,
any comments, any changes, any corrections? Those in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted? Say aye.
Aye.
Quick look around the room, to the public people. So let's go on to the old business. And I think, as I said, when I sent it around to everybody, I was on vacation during this hotel, so I may not leave it. But I think we should be having this, continuing this conversation. I know Jane did. As Peter, but you guys want to give kind of like an update for us? Three of us, those two, three.
Well, we'll probably have our meeting in September, right, Peter, with the director of finance. And then Peter and I were just talking before you came in. We'll probably have to set the meeting for the last recommendation that we made with regard to the foundation on fundraising. So we want to add a little bit more information to what Peter has originally put together. He was going to do handout today, but I thought it would be better if you just talk to it. Anything, any questions?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just an update as to where we are with this. And also the idea, has anybody thought about the idea of making a land trust as well?
Yeah, we talked about that. And that was in the last meeting, and how to get a land assets into the housing trust. But I think what we want to do is we want to talk to the director of finance and the foundation, and we'll also tie in that question about the land.
can I just ask you, when you say foundation, what foundation?
Mark had suggested we talk to the Madison Foundation. Yeah, because they have a lot of experience with fundraising and stuff. Just sort of, the idea is that we have to get.
They have some of themselves, but they also get
Yeah.
foundation money too.
And then the mechanics of, what if people want to start donating 2,000? We get somebody. So we have to, Peter and I are working that through with the, talking to people from town, see how that would all be.
Well, there's also, if we're going to make a proposal on some which Peter do this with one a real proposal, which would probably involve big checks on. Hi. Questions?
No, she's there.
Could she hear us?
She muted herself.
Oh, I can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, I can.
Hello.
We were just talking before, we were trying to see where we are in terms of bringing in additional members to bring us back up to the full complement of 7 people. Do you have any information about that? I understand some people have applied through the website.
It's my understanding that some people have applied, but the way the process works is when somebody applies, If they are a Republican, it goes through the Republican Town Committee, a Democrat, Democratic Town Committee, or if they're unaffiliated, the applications get sent to Jeannie Stevens. And then, so if they go to one of the two town committees, then the town committees they take on the responsibility of interviewing those folks and then making a recommendation. Then the RTC or the DTC has to vote on them. So it's not really the Board of Selectmen necessarily that's bringing forward the candidates. The Board of Selectmen will vote on installing those individuals onto the committees or commissions. But thus far, we have not been presented with any additional members.
Okay, so if we're trying to get more information, we should really talk to the respective town committees to find out where they are.
Yeah, and Jean Stevens as well. We can reach out to her and find out, Peggy's executive assistant.
Yep.
And find out if she's received any applications from any unaffiliated candidates, unaffiliated voters,
Yep.
because those would go through her desk. But yeah, up until this point, I believe the RTC has one candidate that was being discussed by the recommendations committee. But I don't know about the DTC, if they've received any folks interested.
Okay. So you think that the Republican Town Committee has a person they're talking to? I guess that's what this point.
Yeah. There's a candidate, a Republican candidate that's going through the process with the RTC for interviews and then potential recommendation, but I'm not sure where that's at in that process.
Okay, and would it be necessary for us to get both of them approved before the Board of Selectmen would do the vote on it? Or can we have one? I mean, is one
Oh, no, we can take them. We can take on new committee members at any interval. They don't have to come.
Not a package.
We lost you, Jen. Jen?
Well, apparently it's not a package. So. Okay, so we can maybe get somebody soon. So go back to the so as far as the trust is concerned, I mean, none of us are lawyers, so we're not going to. Town's going to have to help us with drafting exactly what we're talking about. So I'm not sure these questions about who manages the money, where is it kept, who can approve to release money, and how is that process going to happen. I don't think we need to. Those are the issues. I don't think we're prepared to tell the town exactly how. Plus, it has to go to a public hearing. So, how do you guys want to proceed?
Well, we're meeting with the town director of finance to work through those details.
And finance director,
She talked about the same thing that you just mentioned. There has to be a referendum, an ordinance, et cetera, et cetera.
Public meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's a process. Yeah.
it's a process, yeah, but I think that the idea is that Peter and I are putting together the pieces of the puzzle to put forth in our committee list of recommendations. So I don't expect this is going to happen overnight, but I think the idea is to educate everyone and to dot our I's and cross our T's and figure out the potential sources of money. More importantly, because that'll be the first question that comes up.
We have a living document as a draft proposal for the Board of Selectmen to consider, following through with an ordinance in this regard. And we keep updating the document. We presented the first draft at the last meeting. My partner had many good suggestions, but smarter than I am. And we've added a lot to this document. To the point where, heck, I'm ready to try to get it done, try to get it established. I don't think it's gonna be that difficult a process. I think we know the process, I think we can do the process. But that's me.
And bureaucracy comes in place.
Well, that's always there.
So you're gonna be talking to, finance director,
Stacy.
Stacy, September. So
Yes.
we really, until we get through that part of the process.
She said October already.
She said October, right?
She responded to you.
Oh, yeah, I thought she said she was out all the rest of August and September might work.
Oh, I thought it was October.
No, September. It's not too far away, Peter.
Weeks later.
It's gonna be here before you know it.
Yeah.
He wants money in the bank.
Well, if we don't do it, it's never gonna get done. We gotta keep this moving.
Okay, as a thought, should we be meeting formally with the board of selectmen to mention that this is the way that this conversation is happening, not probably before we talk to students.
Well, we have two of them. We got the ADU.
Well, the ADU is separate. You remember,
Maybe
we had a vote on the
separate, but They
ADU.
both have to go through,
Yes,
they both would have to go through.
They're
Why not
not together.
two at the same time?
It can't be done together.
What?
Because we don't have a vote that affirmatively says the committee wants to put this forward to the board of selectmen. So
Oh, we have a majority vote.
we do, and we had the conversation. What majority vote happened, it was a 3-2 vote. And I expressed my concern that going ahead with the 3-2 vote, when we were missing 2 members of the committee, was not something we should do. We should have at least the full committee discuss it, because we have 2 votes that were no. So it's one of the reasons I'm anxious to get us back up with both sides. So I think as far as the ADUs are concerned, that's currently on hold until we are able to have the full committee in place. And we will go over this one more time. At least one. As far as the trust funds are getting started.
Would it be helpful if I reach out to Jeannie to see where things stand in terms of the appointments?
Sure.
Would it be helpful for me to reach out to Jeannie to see where things stand in terms of the appointments, just to?
If you would, sure. That'd be great. I think she's the one that she would only know about the, well, maybe it's not, maybe she knows a lot more stuff.
She might have some insight
Yeah, okay.
as to the committees also.
Because it's still an agenda item, right?
So she might have some.
Okay. But so, are we still in agreement that that's what we should do, is wait until there's a full committee before we take that?
Sure.
No. Okay. That's about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess, vote is a vote. I don't feel strongly about waiting. There's a decision to the recommendations. The committee still functions, so.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. We can indeed do it. No issue. But since the vote, I was the third vote on it. Let's go ahead. So as far as the rest of the committee is concerned, we have a tie, essentially. So we're tied by 4 moving ahead. So, you, Francine, and Jane, 2 people. It's not a good idea. It should not be great.
I wouldn't call it not a good idea. I don't think it's a priority of the committee. And when I look at what our responsibilities are in terms of the plan, when the action item that refers to essentially dwelling units doesn't have our committee on either the primary responsibility or supporting entity, if that says it has planning and zoning commission and staff. So it's just my opinion, I'm just one person, that the whole accessory dwelling unit thing, like I said before, it doesn't further what I think the primary responsibility of us is, which is deeded restricted for the process. And so that's why I'm not quite sure why we're dipping our toe in that to make recommendations about it. It's something planning and zoning is going to look at in terms of regulations. So,
But it has to do that.
yes,
We've been making a recommendation to planning, so
okay.
that's.
But like I said, it's not on the list of responsibilities we're given. We're not mentioned there. So, and also just my opinion is that because I feel like we're supposed to be devoting our responsibilities to is affordable housing, deeded restricted affordable housing. And that's why for me, ADUs is not I need to involve myself in it. Yeah, because it doesn't further that mission, in my opinion, but I'm just one vote, so it's fine. People can-
I think it's consistent with our objectives. I mean, it certainly is deed restricted, it certainly is affordable.
No, they
No,
are.
no, no, they're not talking about deed
They're
restricted
talking
here.
about deed restricted.
If they
ADUs.
were, we would
That would
say
be different.
it would be a different
Where
story.
did deed restricted go?
It didn't go.
There's,
It
it's
didn't go.
it's not my understanding that the discussion we're having about ADUs is deed restriction.
Okay,
We're just
well,
talking
that's-
about them in
that's-
general.
I understand, and this wonderful thing that Eric wrote up, it's really good. I'm not sure deed restrictions is in there.
It was,
If it was, it would make a big difference. It would be night and day.
I hear you loud and clear about sticking to the priorities. Is the ADUs on the planning and zoning commission agenda?
It will be,
Oh, will be.
yes. They were waiting to finish the plan of conservation and development review. And that would have, and I don't know where it is on that, freed them up around the end of the summer. The last, Aaron actually mentioned that in one of our meetings, probably about 4 meetings ago, that they weren't going to look at any regulation changes or do
Yeah.
anything until like
Uh,
the summer.
I mean, Tremaine property issue has basically taken over their agenda.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Which
yeah.
I believe they have a meeting 15 days. I don't know. Do anything. Next meeting. Let's talk a little bit about, and welcome, by the way.
Thank you. Do you mind if I move a little closer to the fans a little? bit,
Sure.
Just so I can.
Use the table.
Well, there, I can hear the guys, I can't hear
Seat
you.
bump or sit
Take the
down.
witness stand. Yeah.
That's right. I'm not gonna take the witness chair.
So reintroduce yourself to us.
My name is John Henley.
Okay, guys.
I guess that's one of the issues that we should talk about in our conversations about ADUs. Back to the trust. Was the comment. Feeling that if ADUs were more available to more people in town through zoning changes, that would create new housing that would not necessarily be as expensive as the housing that exists now, which is mostly single family. So that effect would have an effect of making town have more affordable housing stock, not even restricted. Actually, right. So, we did talk about that as saying that could be something that would make housing more affordable, which is our basic responsibility to try to find ways to do that. One way of doing that is to have ADUs that are restricted by deed, but other things would be you can find. If there's a guy can't be town, apartment house and say located apartments are no more than 80%. They will agree to that, probably encourage that to be happening, it's not restricted. I'm guessing you want to look at that, and think that's a good thing, as opposed to everything else. Establishments. So I really do feel that with 2 people missing and it basically a tie vote, it's not the time. I can be ruled by authority. Yes, no. Do you want to vote for it or do you not?
Well, I'm not interested, I'm not sure that I'm interested. Like I said, I don't, besides the fact that I don't think it furthers what I think our primary responsibility is, and separate apart from that, I have a lot of concerns about ADUs. I'm not a big gun person about ADUs. So making that something that we take to the committee, obviously, if the committee decides that we're going to do that, then that's what we're going to do. Let me take a list. I'm part of the committee, I would today. But if you're asking me, if I want to, if I think that.
No,
that's-
but all I was saying, one thing is, do you want to move forward on ADU with the 5-member committee?
I don't have a problem with moving forward with whatever we are going to do with 5 members, because that's all we have is 5 members. So to wait till we're 6 members or 7 members, to do any of our goals. I don't think that that's necessary.
Conflating a couple things. I'm asking about just the one issue is this, because we had a vote, it was time. I thought we should wait until we have more people to get
I
more
don't-
voices
If
before
you're
we
asking me,
go
do I
ahead.
agree or not agree? I don't agree with that. I think.
If you move ahead with ADUs.
I think you could, if the committee has, if the majority of the committee, which 3 out of 5 is the majority, decides they want to move ahead to get a recommendation of BOS and ADUs,
It would be
then-
planning zone.
or planning and zoning, okay. Then sure, the committee can move ahead, because I wouldn't say no to another item that I'm more supportive of. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say yes to this too, even though I'm not supportive of it as a concept. Do you know what I mean? I want to be consistent.
Yeah.
If we were talking about a different issue, like talking about land trusts, and we don't have 7 members, that we still should talk about it and pull whatever we want, just,
Okay.
do you know what I mean?
I think my concern is that you don't want a minority report.
Well, it's not a minority
No, no,
report,
no,
it's
I'm
3 out of
saying-
5.
Say it's, I said, one of them, you don't want to have some members of the committee bring forward to the planning and zoning, and then someone was saying, well, we're not, we don't. Because the planning and zoning, say, we're not gonna do it. You, so is there anything that, the understanding that, Francine, is there anything that makes sense to do at this point? They just, based on a 3-2 vote, we should start making recommendations on ADUs.
I'm sorry, so what's, I mean, what,
The thing, the proposal that was on the table, what we know
yeah,
was that we should create a program that we can take to the planning and zoning commission, recommending that the loosen restrictions on. That's what the proposal was, you voted in favor, and we had 2 votes, yes. So, I mean, I certainly respect your opinion, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong or anything like that, I'm just saying, if we were to go to head right now with just the people we have here, we know how it's going to go 2-2. So is that, to me, that's not an effective way to find something that we can go to these commissions and boards with something that we actually all support enthusiastically. And if ADUs are not supported enthusiastically by the committee, then should we do it? Maybe your opinion is perfectly legitimate, so maybe we shouldn't go ahead.
but you know, just to, I mean, to belabor this, but the other problem I have with this is, so when you just said, go forward enthusiastically, I don't even really know what our recommendations on ADUs are,
We don't have one.
We don't have one.
We haven't gotten
because we never really dove into any of that reporting. All we did was get a report. So we never picked it apart, we never decided what, we never had a discussion as a committee.
We actually did. That was the committee that
You know,
we had.
we didn't, we never got nitty gritty about it, we didn't
We
say,
didn't do a deep dive.
we did
No, we
not.
didn't. No.
We did
Together.
not, we did
Together.
not ever say, what do we think about setbacks? What do we think about square footage? What do we think about indoor doors not, you know, what do we think about owner occupied? We never did any of that.
Well, that you're going back to your planning and zoning
No.
experience, which is good. We should have.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't even know what this committee wants to present
Yeah.
as a recommendation. So, you know, I don't even know what I'd be agreeing to. It's, again,
That's what we have
I
to.
don't,
agree
yeah,
to.
we never really discussed it. I was just given this
We
and
never
said,
put-
here's what it is. And I said, yeah, I don't agree with a lot of that.
Here's what Eric proposed.
Yeah, and I don't agree with a lot of that, and we never talked about it.
Okay.
Well, it has all the specifics in it.
I got it.
We should go through this, hey, paragraph by paragraph. You know, if we really want to move ahead with it. But his first recommendation was to form a joint working group with the planning and zoning. You know, and the
And
agenda.
that's what we voted against.
We didn't vote against.
Well, no, we did 2-2. He decided. And so, and you, Francine, there is no way that our committee can go forward with what are the setbacks we're going to recommend to planning and zoning for ADUs.
Oh, well,
Because that's
then,
not,
what do
we don't know.
Okay, so
What do we recommend?
I just wanna chime in here. There's a couple things. I think this is a sticky wicket. I think
Clearly.
that there's a lot of detail that goes into making any planning and zoning changes. I think the people on planning and zoning, are, you know, in the thick of probably looking at a lot of applications, as Aaron had mentioned. There's something like 40 or 60 applications for ADUs in the pipeline. And people that are putting these applications in are requesting specific changes. there's a couple of things that kind of dovetail with this. To the point that Francine's making, you know, does that affect setbacks, or are we just going to say it's square footage? Well, who are we to say? We're not on the PZ. That's number one. Oh, what happens with the fact that my neighbor might put up a new big ADU and they're going to Airbnb it out, because now instead of having just room for one person, they have room for 3 people. So now you have the Board of Selectmen who probably have dealt with requests for regulations on Airbnb renting. So I feel like there's so many different layers to this that I don't really feel we are equipped to make a recommendation in this area without sitting in that P&Z chair. And these people are there on a regular basis for like as long as 6 or 7 hours sometimes. You know, sometimes these things go on until midnight. I don't feel like we know enough about what could happen. I personally think there's probably a lot of stuff in the pipeline because you have extended families and people who have money who want bigger spaces to live for extended family, and that's very convenient for them. I don't see them helping the $50,000 a year worker who needs to get an apartment, you know, affordable housing, who's commuting in from East Haven or wherever they're coming in from. I don't see that happening. I think we really have to understand, if we were to make a recommendation on changing ADUs, who is that target audience going to benefit the most? And right now, I have to say, I think it's going to be the people who have a lot of money, who want to put a nice big ADU on the back because it's convenient to have it for their family. And unless you say differently, and the only people who really know that, who are looking at those applications, are the P's. So by process, Mark, you do have a majority and you can go forth and make a recommendation. I just don't feel that I want to be a part of that recommendation. But you can go right ahead. I mean, you can overrule that. And I have no problem with that because that is the process.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's the way it works.
Let me go, leave that and stop for a moment. Let me go back and try to share some of my thoughts on this. Number one is P&Z has the responsibility to decide what they're going to do. All the details that we're talking about, they decide that, we don't decide.
Sure.
And I also don't believe we have the expertise to recommend any of those things, including setbacks, or who's going to get how. I don't think we have the expertise. The only
Agreed.
question on the table is, are we in favor as a committee of making a recommendation to the zoning committee that they put this on their agenda, officially on the agenda, it's a recommendation for us to look into affordable housing, accessory housing. That's all we're asking. That's all. We cannot go through all the details that Francine was talking about because I don't have clues to what that should be.
You mean, all that you're asking is, do we want to just tell them to, could you
Do
please
we
look into
think-
this?
Do we think is the affordable housing committee and Jane was basically saying, no, you should say for yourself. The only question on the table is, should we as a committee say, we believe that making ADUs more easy to establish in town will have a positive effect on affordability in town? That's really the only question we are here to answer. Because we don't have the details. And that was the whole idea of meeting. So if we were to make that recommendation, then we would sit down with the working committee, with the planning and zoning folks, and say, okay, we can add more value perhaps as an interlocutor with them. But we have no expertise to talk about what should or should not be the way ADUs are. That's the planning and zoning. That's their job. It's how ADUs. So right now they have a plan. We have ADUs and they have a bunch of rules and regulations as to how those things should be done. Are we thinking that loosening those rules make it better in terms of the town having? And even if it is rich people starting building their ADUs in their backyard, but if they're bringing young people in to live in those ADUs, because that might be a good thing for the town. Who knows? I don't think we should be discriminating against rich people. But, are we building a whole bunch of ADUs for poor people? No, don't. That's an expensive thing. Building an ADU is not a cheap thing. So yes, probably most of the ADUs are for people who have some resources that we're willing to, and we're getting a mortgage for building ADU. So yes, it will probably be that. If they're ADUs being used for Airbnb, that is an entirely separate issue. And I think the town is trying to address that. And I did send a thing around about taxing ADUs as well, funding the trust fund. And that's another thing the town has to, we don't do that, but that's what's selected. But maybe the state court has said now ADUs, you can't have any restrictions on ADUs, but you can license them. So is that a thing that the select should do for us? We have nothing to do with that. If people are doing Airbnbs, we don't have an opinion. I mean, other than unprovable that by taking a whole bunch of people reading Airbnbs, you're taking housing out of the market, and that's probably true. Taking out the people. Affordable housing, I don't know.
Because my answer, oh, sorry.
I'll just be succinct. So to your point, Mark, since we are ignorant on all of those issues, I don't think we're in a position to make a recommendation. That's just my opinion. And that's for me.
Yeah, thank you.
That's pretty much what I was going to say. And then the second one I would say is, we already have regulations that allow ADUs, whether or not they need to be lucid. If whoever's going, I'm not sure what's behind our recommendation, because we don't know what the barriers are for people not just going forward, for the people that aren't going forward with the information that they already have in our regulations. So, and if we're not going to dissect everything and try to find out what that is to make the recommendations on what they might do, because that's really up to planning and zoning, then piggyback on what James said, I don't see why I don't know why we're dipping our toe in there. I don't know.
And again, question, Francine, the question is, do we think that making ADUs more accessible is help make towns housing stock?
My answer is that is no. It's easy.
Well, fine, but I mean, that's fine, but that's the only question
Okay.
we're talking about.
I don't think so.
Okay. You guys are quiet over here.
There are ADUs in the town that are not dinky backyard, small little bungalows for the family. There are ADUs in town that are large. They can't, the current regulation says it can't exceed the height of the.
No, it's under 900 square feet.
There's a lot of stuff here that Eric covered in great detail. But boy, there's a couple of places in town where ADUs on the town and principal's property are large, 3-4 apartment dwellings, larger structures.
They're not ADUs, if the ADUs are restricted to 900 square feet.
Oh, so they're not currently.
I don't know what they are, but I assume if you have big enough property, you can build another house.
Well, that's what's happened. Now, how to regulate, I really don't know. So I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth, nor can I say something that's intelligent, because I just don't know, But I'm seeing these opportunities to build small apartments, on somebody's very large lot that we need to consider, or need to at least have in our vision someplace. I don't, I'm not a big fan of moving ahead with this, so I'm fine staying where we are with this until we spend time going over it, or set up a joint smaller committee meeting with a committee from P and Z to see what their opinion is on it too.
Anthony,
Yeah, when we started this conversation, I wasn't well versed on it. When I look at statistics now, ADUs are not a new thing. There's quite a few in Madison who've been doing it. And when you say there's that many in the queue, it almost makes you really think that is it going to really help us in our priority goal of restricted affordable housing? I'm starting to rethink that. And it's funny how you said that. People with extreme resources, I guess those are the people that are going to build these ADUs. And neither here nor there, that God bless them, but that's not going to help us, go. And I think, as I really think about it, I think it's in the planning and zoning's scope and not so much us. They're the well versed. I'm just trying to think of like, how can we help them? Make that decision, but as far as ADUs, I'm questioning it now as far as it's not a priority. And, there's a lot of questions that are gonna come up, and we're not the subject matter experts.
Oh, no, and we.
Yeah, and I know, but if you're coming forward with a recommendation, my feeling is you should know quite a bit for the basis, and I don't know if we're there yet.
The only question we have.
Yeah,
in terms
I
of
think we should hold.
as we've been saying over and over again, is do we think that ADUs will really make a significant difference in the towns? That's the only
Yeah,
question.
I have to say, no.
Sticking with yes.
Well, I think we ought to,
Okay, so, no, the question is not what we should do, it's this part of our business, it's just to quote, I was watching last night, Tim Walz, maybe none of our damn business, you know, that's what I was saying.
well, no, sure. And
If it doesn't move the needle as far as affordability is concerned, then we shouldn't bother with it. I agree. So I guess that's really the question. And everybody, I mean, the consensus I'm hearing is that, no, we will not, you know, whatever, whether it's just because rich people put their children in or whatever, but it's really not gonna change. So we should be focused on the issues. Everybody okay with that? Okay. So that is, let's keep that in minutes. We no longer going to consider the issue of ADUs. So then coming back to the housing trust, basically we got to wait till after the soon on talking to the finance director. Were you able to get any information about the funding from the buildings?
Oh, yeah, I thought I sent that around.
You remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have it right here, but it was sizable. Building permit fees are not an insignificant fundraiser for the town.
Well, I'd like you to consider both the thing I sent around about the Airbnb things. I think that sounds like a very clever way of putting a tax on something we want to manage anyway. So, thank you. It's whatever you guys do. So, okay.
I know.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Was that an Airbnb tax? I don't remember that. Was that like an article or something?
That was an answer to.
Oh,
Peter's-
okay,
Peter's,
all right.
sent to everybody. So
Oh, okay.
it is, I mean, basically, only big cities so far have done this. They have basically taxed significantly. One in Phoenix was like 17% plus sales tax interest charges. So it changes the dynamics and also that license them. So license to have it here. So it's a way of managing.
I was gonna say, but that would, yeah, I mean, I think those are good ideas.
Yeah,
But definitely have to create something's gonna,
you know,
a person that's gonna be taking care of
well,
that.
the only thing I saw that it's in New York, Chicago, Phoenix, so we're slightly different size. So that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Janie
has set up this meeting with us with the finance manager of the town, whatever, finance director.
Yeah.
Right. Jane, I'm not real sure what we're gonna get out of that, other than we gotta go through an ordinance.
I think it's, no, I think it's our job to educate, the finance people about, all the research we've come across. Put it together succinctly to share all of our ideas, and then to talk to her about, potential sources that she has come across, because I think it's the same department that has been very instrumental in acquiring grants and loans for other infrastructure things for the
Well,
town.
grants and loans are something that we don't.
So, yeah, so, well, yeah, but I can come up with a list, because like,
Sure.
we talked about that early on when we first were formed, about different types of funding for affordable housing. So I think it's a conversation here. We are there to educate and market the idea. And then we are to talk about where the money's coming in for other resources in the town. And then her ideas about, other potential resources that we could get. And to create an ally, basically, in the finance department. And she might have some ideas, or she might even have friends that are working elsewhere in other towns and can get us information from some of the towns that do have existing funds. So it's exploratory.
Well, we've looked at all the local trust funds. I mean, we've got information as to how they're funded, sometimes how much even money they have from all the places in Connecticut that have housing trust funds. And we've included in our draft of the draft of forming a trust fund, all the different possible sources of funding. And I don't know if, pursuing sources of funding is not ours to do necessarily, but listing possibilities for it, might be. And also might be pursuing them ourselves in that regard. But we've certainly listed them all, the possible sources of funding. And I'm anxious to talk to her too. And I'll see what she thinks about that plan. She'll have to read it first. She doesn't know she has absolutely no idea what we're talking about right now. But we can educate her.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Okay, and I think as far as the trust fund, so we'll basically think about this mid-September, October, to collect enough data that we can start having a conversation about it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Well, we have a draft document that covers all of the angles of the trust fund. Sources of income, expenditures, trustees, all that stuff. We've looked at all what's in the state now.
Well, that's
and
good.
drafted
That's a good start.
an actual presentation.
That's a good start. So now we need to get some more feedback from the finance. I mean, now we're talking about implementation. So you get more information from her in September, and then time for you guys to work out. Is that fair?
Yeah, fair.
It's September, whatever.
Yeah.
That meeting. The working groups, there is one other working group, that's the 24 Wall Street thing. I'm very sorry to say that we have not made any progress on that, mostly because Mike Johnson is not set a date for us to meet. So, Jane, do you want to join that meeting? I'm not sure he probably doesn't know you, so you
don't have to.
Okay.
You have it with them.
Well, he's his very good friend who's on.
Yeah.
This
You have, you can read.
Okay.
Because Timmy, if you want a developer to come in, we have that guy who's willing to.
Well, just to review this, what I'm hoping that sort of the plan would be to find Mike Johnson, put up enough money to stabilize the building and refurbish it in terms of the outside, such like that, so it's the building's preserved. Then the developer would come in and work within that envelope to restore the inside and get the market set. The key thing, it seems to me, is that first step. It's the library. It still has not decided what to do with it. But
You have to have a meeting with the board once you have your jump link.
I've got to go in, as we know, when they were there, they said, okay, how much money? None. So we need to have some money. So hopefully next week or two, we're not being, he's a very interesting fellow. Has a lot to do. Also, he's not delaying us. He's not trying to do it. Just let's talk about we agreed that we would have a meeting in October, a public meeting in October. So I think that we probably should create a working group around the meeting in October. Decide, recommend how subject matter coverage that meeting across the waterfront. In the first meeting, we're going to have a specific topic to talk about. Just really get feedback, or are we trying to present something to the public? Trying to sell, how much are we trying to sell, how much are we trying to just inform ourselves. So, do you have any volunteers to be on that working group? Okay.
Sure.
I'll- I'll-
Can I ask if anybody has any ideas of a topic that, do you have any thoughts on that?
The only thing we're talking about right now, this is housing trust funds.
And then
To me, I don't think that's,
We're gonna get examples,
Well, then,
not like
yeah,
that,
well,
like a school that's being converted.
Yeah, I mean, my
Oh, this-
suggestion, we had last meeting was should we have like a thing where we can show people what's happened in other towns. That, Peter had mentioned that there was a video, but we've seen pictures and stuff, so, but I'd love to hear other people's ideas, like, does somebody else have? That's what I had thought,
what
like,
would be the subject?
Well,
But
just
this is
be-
for, our group to be talking about. What would be the subject we
the
should?
present,
Yeah, we,
present?
do we want to present, like, one thing you could present is saying, look, affordable housing looks good.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's
it's
a
like-
thing.
it's so-
The video is perfect for
My
that.
thought was what's happening in affordable housing along the shoreline, and we could
Yeah.
find some
Yeah,
examples of things that have been built, not so far away and not like in,
You know, Milford and Wallingford.
not,
they're
not
very-
like in Windsor or something, but I mean, something that has some frame of reference to us.
Well, we should,
Essex and
we have
Old
a
Saybrook.
one person working group who be, have that conversation and then we present it to the rest of the.
But also if
Yes,
some,
we can.
people, if you have some other thoughts on the topic,
Well,
feel free.
we might, and again, one possible thing is that people might be curious as to what we're doing, what we're talking about. So there might be an informational.
That's fine
So
too.
the trust funds is a perfect discussion topic.
Okay. That is the agenda, the official agenda.
So the last thing, as far as working groups go, I mean, I sent you an email, Jake, the town parcel thing.
Yes, well, you told me that.
Yeah,
What you
okay,
said.
just for everybody else's information.
Aaron,
Erin has some other priorities right now that have been given her for work responsibilities, so she's not quite ready to get back together with Jane and I to
Sure.
show us how she's whittled it down until next month, so we probably won't be able to get it along before we get back to them.
Okay, that's fair. As long as it doesn't fall off the agenda.
No.
Aaron's not dead, no.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
It's
sorry.
July, so she's got a lot of.
Her ADU is gonna be available.
Too much discussing that.
Her mom.
Yeah, she does.
Hi.
Right.
You have anything to say? Would you
No,
like to say something?
thank you.
No?
No.
Okay.
Think we know a little bit about what you're doing.
Yep.
Very helpful.
Don't understand. But you're welcome to begin comment. Molly, anything that you have on your list?
I'm still
I'm glad you're
interested,
finishing back. I wanted to say
Yeah.
the vote of confidence and they guys did.
still interested in the
Bless you.
little bus tour of local affordable housing units, you know? I mean, I drove down toward Guilford on Route 1 and looked at those little houses down at the end of Route 1. And it's really interesting to take a look at what is local, and especially maybe in Essex, or Chester, or one of the other towns that surround us that you may be aware of. I don't want to make more work for somebody, but I'd sure like to get on a bus and just take a little ride.
We had started putting together a tour just for the units that were specific in Madison.
Sure.
And found as we were planning that we really needed to gather some more information because we figured the questions would come up as we were touring. Year it was built, and how many units, and so we were working on gathering information, so.
If we can identify a developer, that they would know all this stuff.
Right, but so we started with just doing Madison, just
Yeah.
so you could see, the owner occupied units and also the rentals. If you want to do something further, then we would, it will take some time. It's taking some research, so.
Thanks, Evan.
um,
I think it'd be interesting to talk to people like school conversion. Because we have two schools that will be vacant.
Well, and maybe inviting them to come in to speak to this group, that would be a good.
The town is the sponsor, I believe.
I don't know.
You can check and see.
Sure.
I've invited Abby Pearsall is the town planner in Clinton. I've invited her to meet with us a couple of times, and she said, "Oh, sure, I'll be happy to do that." And then she never gets back to me. So I can pressure her, because she's very vocal about stuff.
We'll have our next meeting over at her office.
We should do
You just go
that.
over there and show up.
Let me see what I can find out.
Do you know Abby?
I don't.
Okay, if there's nothing more, I think we will adjourn at this point. But one question is the next meeting in August. We have a whole lot on the agenda for this point. Do we want to meet or do we just
Or
skip
is that the 17th?
I believe it is the 17th.
I won't be here, sorry. I'll be in Tampa with my daughter.
Okay. Does anybody mind skipping the
I'm
next
gone
meeting?
too.
Oh, well,
There you
then
go,
we're-
that's it.
then we don't.
There you go. That was-
That's it.
Thanks,
That's
Peter.
it.
Decision made, I guess.
It's
Okay.
the
It's
21st.
the 21st of August.
21st, not
No, I won't be here, sorry.
Yeah, I'll be.
You will
I
not
would have been here the 17th, but not the 21st.
Okay.
17th is
Back to
Saturday.
September.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Same here.
Yeah,
You're
that-
on your way.
No meeting.
You're on your way on the
So,
17th.
okay, so.
I actually
Jennifer,
fly
let me-
back 22nd.
Next meeting will be the first. Wednesday
First one's in September.
in September.
Okay, so that's the fourth.
Fourth or something.
That is the fourth.
Okay, so next meeting will be on 9/4.
Okay.
We're back on the 10th. Well, I think for the time being, we're back on the HVAC. Okay,
This is a nice little one.
you don't answer?
I like it.
Maybe you can ask to use this. I'll ask them to use this.
The other chairs, other chairs won't come in.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you're right about that.
You're right about this. Goodness gracious.
I find it hard to hear in either room, so,
Really?
yeah. I
I
have
Well,
find
it's
it
not
hard to
anyone.
hear
This
here.
is long.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
Maybe it's
Last.
the
It's echoes in here. Yeah, my hearing is generally good and I.
You're okay? You can hear us?
I had trouble hearing.
Oh, you- Okay, Jan's dropped off. Okay.
Heather's
I
nice.
can see stuff.
Tell your sister.
I am the worst one to be the.
You
are, but you do it.
Yep, there you go.
She's